Hello, everyone. How's it going? This is immigration attorney Moumita. I'm coming to you live to talk about a very important immigration question to you today. And after I get done discussing this, I'm going to answer as many questions as I can about immigration and what is on your mind. The topic I have for you tonight is I am filing for VAWA, or I am thinking about filing for the protections underneath VAWA, but my US citizen spouse wants to get back together with me. They want to apologize and they say that they're going to be better. What should I do? I'm going to discuss this very important question right now because it's actually a question that I get a lot from my clients, and it is an important one for you to understand. But before I go any further, my name is Moumita Rahman. I am an immigration lawyer. I have been an immigration lawyer for the past 11 years, and it is my honor and my privilege and my pleasure to do the work that I do because I love helping immigrants. This is the work that I'm meant to do. And in particular, I do a lot of VAWA cases because for me, it is something that I love to be able to help people with. So let's talk about this. Are you filing for VAWA and you are now talking to your spouse? Maybe you've been separated from your spouse and now they say, hey, I'm really sorry. I'll never do this again. I'll never treat you this way again. Can we get back together? I'll help you with your papers now. What should you do? So this is really a very difficult thing because, when it comes to spouses, relationships where your spouse is not treating you well. Here's the thing. What I see in a lot of cases is that a lot of those old behaviors that you have been going through that make you feel sad and make you feel like you have no value, make you feel like you're not doing anything right, those things may never get better. But if you want to continue your VAWA case, here's the thing. You can get back together with your spouse. VAWA does not require you to be separated from your spouse. VAWA does not require you to be divorced. You can go ahead and move on with your life because relationships are complicated. This is the real deal. Relationships are complicated and you probably have mixed feelings, even though your spouse may be making you feel terrible, maybe even if they're hurting you. It is hard to leave a relationship and you may want to give it another shot. You can go ahead and do that, but you can still continue your VAWA case. Your VAWA case is completely private. You do not have to abandon it just because your spouse is promising to be better. And in the case that, they go back to being the way that they were, to hurting you, to mistreating you, any of those things, you still have the protection of this case on your side. You don't have to give up on that just because you're trying to work on your relationship. So if you're going through the situation, give us a call, 212-248-7907. My staff is standing by to book you for an appointment so I can go over your immigration options and help you get the relief that you need. An important part of this case is that you don't need to be living with your spouse. You just need to be legally married. And if you have gotten divorced, you just need to make sure that your divorce is not more than 2 years old. And another very important factor for you to understand is that you do not need to have a legal entry to qualify for this case. You may still qualify for VAWA even if you entered illegally, even if you have overstayed your visa. But there are two other important things that we have to prove in every case. Number one, we have to prove that you have lived together with your spouse. That means that you must have shared a residence with your spouse for at least some period of time. And number two, we have to prove that your marriage is a good faith marriage and that you got married with the intention of having life together, even if it doesn't work out. All right. So keep these two things in mind. If you want to talk, give us a call, 212-248-7907. All right. Going to go ahead and answer as many questions as I can. Tips for a marriage-based green card interview from Bree on TikTok. And yes, everybody, I'm live streaming on 4 different platforms. If you don't follow me in any of these, go ahead and give me a follow: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Tips for a marriage-based interview. I have so many tips, Bree. I recommend that you actually check out my amazing video on YouTube about marriage-based interviews. This is a video that I sent to a lot of my clients when we're preparing for the interview, and it is something that will help you out. So Bree, I recommend that you look up my YouTube video on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is called Moumita's Immigration TV. Look it up. I have a lot of tips on lots of on lots of things regarding the marriage-based interview process and the marriage-based adjustment of status case. Okay, but the number one tip that I have when you go to an interview is have a lawyer by your side. yes, have a lawyer by your side. And number 2, make sure you prepare your documents and go over your information and answers. All right, let's see what other questions I have. My marriage after 2 interviews, but no response. Okay, so that's from Asin. So, all right, this is good. A lot of you have gone through your interviews with immigration, but you don't get a decision right away. You don't get a decision right away, and you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and months goes by. The thing is that when you have an interview with immigration, they give you a letter that says that you have to wait 120 days before getting a decision. What this really means is that you have to give them at least 120 days from the date of your interview, and it's considered normal for you to wait at least 4 months from the date of your interview to get a decision. Once you pass that time, if you still have not received a decision, then you may be able to do certain things such as do a service request or make other inquiries to try to speed everything up. Okay. Tandeka Masami is asking, greetings, I want to know why we're interrogated so much at the airport when we come back to the US, and how can Border Patrol prove that your marriage is not real at the airport? From Tandeka. Tandeka, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correct. Border Patrol does not have jurisdiction over proving whether your marriage is real. Now, they don't have jurisdiction over proving that. However, during the course of your interrogation with Customs and Border Patrol, if you happen to say certain things that they have information about possibly that contradicts it, then it can definitely put you into an awkward position. I recommend that if you are in the process for a green card, if you already have a green card, you're coming back, you're coming back through an airport or through Customs, and they pull you aside to ask you questions, your choices are probably limited because they have the authority to hold you there for a long time, and you're not really allowed access to a lawyer. However, I would not say anything, and I would certainly not sign anything. And that may mean that you have to sit there for a very, very long time. Do they have the right to interrogate you? They believe that they have a job to do, and they're whatever way that they're doing it, whether it's wrong or right, they're doing it. And we should all be, also thankful for certain Border Patrol officers who actually are not that way. However, I know it's very stressful. My advice is, if you're going through interrogation, don't sign anything, don't say anything. All right. How long does VAWA usually take? From Lisa's Beauty. Lisa, thank you for your question. VAWA cases are 2 parts. If you're going for the green card, then it's a little bit different. If you're filing for VAWA, the VAWA itself, which is the I-360, will normally take at least 18 to 24 months to be decided. Once it's decided, then your case will be forwarded to the field office where you are planning, where you live, which is where your case will be assigned for the I-485 or green card interview. And then your wait time will depend on how long your local office is taking to schedule persons for an interview. And, if you have not concurrently filed your I-485 with the I-360, then it may take even longer, because then you're basically kind of falling a little bit behind that way. Okay. Let's see. Ali Ikram is asking, divorce completed last August, 2 years ago completed last August. Any chance to file VAWA? From Ali Ikram. Ali, I'm not sure if I understand the question or your comments as to whether you got divorced last August or 2 years ago on an August. If you got divorced last August, then you should be fine. You're still within the 2 years. However, if you got divorced in August 2 years ago, then it's probably more than 2 years, and you may not be able to do VAWA, but give us a call. Maybe we can look for some other different way. Are I-130 and I-29F processing times the same across the U.S., or is it different based on service centers? From Cy Hunter. Cy, there are probably different processing times according to the locations that they're filed. You can look up the processing times on the USCIS website page. Are you not available on WhatsApp? I couldn't find you on WhatsApp, from Ustad Abdul Majid. It is because I'm not on WhatsApp. If you want to get in touch with me, you have to call our office, which is 212-248-7907. Okay. Hey, how's everything going? I filed for my 2 sons under the ages of 18 since 2020, and I only received the receipts saying that they're processing from that time. Haven't heard for anything else. From Zap Zap. Zap Zap, if you're a U.S. citizen, your son's underneath age 18 should have gotten at least hopefully approved by now, and the priority date is probably current. But if you're a green card holder, then the wait can be longer. All right. Let's see what other questions I have. And hello to everyone. I had a question here in Spanish. Let's see if I can answer it. Oh, I have a question here. 2 months since conditional green card. Wife assaulted me physically. I have audio. I want to leave, to be honest. Worried about the permanent green card. From Bad Choices. Bad Choices. I want you to make a good choice and preserve your safety. If your spouse is assaulting you and you have a 2-year green card, I don't care how good you think that assault is or how bad it is, whether you get injured or not. You know what? The sad truth is that some of you, some of my followers, some of my clients, some of my friends even, you may be getting assaulted. You may be hurt. An assault is anything that is an unwanted physical contact, a push, a slap, a scratch, a kick, all of these are assaults. No one deserves to get assaulted. If you're getting assaulted and you have a 2-year green card and you're worried about what will happen to you, what will happen to your permanent green card, I want you to know that you will probably have the option to file for your permanent green card by yourself, which is through the waiver of extreme cruelty and battery for your I-751. And Bad Choices, I would love for you to make a good choice and give me a call, 212-248-7907, so that we can hopefully help you with that case. The good news about when you file for your 2-year removal of conditions application and when you file for the waiver due to extreme cruelty or battery, there is no deadline. There's no deadline. You can file as early as you want before your card expires. You can even file after your card expires, although I do not recommend that. If you need to file your removal of conditions and you talk with me and I say, hey, I think that you qualify for this waiver, let's go ahead and do it. I think that you should go ahead and free yourself from the situation to get it filed as soon as possible, because why have that stress over your head, okay? Can I apply for a visitor visa for my spouse after applying for an I-130? Yes, you can go ahead and apply, but just make sure, just be advised that they may ask your wife about whether she has a process started, and you should always answer truthfully. My question, do I work with deportations? From JB Ismail. Yes, I definitely work. I have many clients who have had deportations. There's certain things that we have to do and certain things that, certain options we have to look for. So even if you have a deportation order and you're looking for a way to move forward, especially if you are married to a citizen or you have adult U.S. citizen children, give me a call. I'll look to see what you qualify for. I look for various types of humanitarian visa options. And if that doesn't work, then we can definitely talk about like a plan forward about what to expect in the future. I applied for my husband's green card back in March. How long does it take in Queens, New York? From Angels of Lights. Angels, definitely in Queens. Queens is actually a faster borough. So for those of you who are living in New York City and you're doing a green card application, please be advised that we have 4 field offices in New York and Long Island. And for me, what I consider the fastest is always going to be Long Island, which is in Holtsville, Long Island, and then is Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, which is New York. That's the longest time. Ivan Ahmed is saying, with bruises and scars from domestic violence, what is the guarantee of VAWA approval from Ivana or Ivan? Listen, there's no guarantee of a VAWA approval. Everyone has a job to prove what they've gone through, and sometimes you do it through pictures, but you always have to submit a well-written affidavit detailing what you've gone through. So even if you have pictures of your bruises, if you don't have an affidavit to help show what you have gone through, to explain what happened, to show how you have suffered, then your case is probably not going to get approved. So there's no guarantee. I always recommend that, obviously try to work with a lawyer if you can't. And if you can't work with a lawyer, then, there's lots of information online that you can use as well. But if you have bruises and scars, something else that you can do is a forensic evaluation. That's something that we do for some of our clients, where they evaluate the scars and bruises that you have to assess how you may have received them. I applied, okay. If I entered 3 times to the US and married a US citizen from user. Okay, so user, you may, depending on when you entered 3 times, most likely you may have something called a permanent bar. And permanent bar is kind of a difficult situation. Permanent bar is one of the toughest immigration and the most unfair immigration penalties that's out there. It's really, really sad when somebody has a permanent bar, but not all hope is lost. What I do is I always look for to see if persons may qualify for 3 types of cases, because within these 3 types of cases, it may be possible to waive the permanent bar to be able to move on to the green card. And if that is not possible, then we look for the next best options, which might include deferred action or some other cases, okay? All right, let's see what other questions I have. Accent says the lawyer with the glow. Thank you. I have like 5 lights on me. That's why. I have a question. How long does it take for them to send your mail after they schedule your interview on their status? From Dion, Foreign Don. Normally, once you get the notification on the USCIS website that your interview is being scheduled, usually you should be receiving that mail within 2 weeks. If it's taking more than 2 weeks, then you better give USCIS a call to find out where that letter has gone. Tandeka, thank you so much. Manish, hello. Rahul, hello. Yes. All right. Let's see what other. After you got your visitor visa and filed for an I-130 in the U.S., can you travel outside the U.S. while your case is pending? From Bibson Dio. All right. Very interesting question. If you file an I-130, can you travel out of the U.S. while your I-130 is pending? Well, the I-130 doesn't really give you any green card. It doesn't give you any rights. It is simply a petition to prove that you are the relative of a U.S. citizen or to a green card holder. But if you have filed your I-130 with an I-485, which is the application for residency, then you should not travel outside the U.S. unless you have a application for advanced parole approved before you depart and you have your card in your hand. If you don't have this, then what will happen is that your I-485 will be considered abandoned and it'll get denied. How important is the psychological evaluation for VAWA? From Layla. Hi, Layla. Layla, the psychological evaluation is very important in my opinion. In a lot of cases, so it really depends. In a lot of cases, there's not a lot of evidence, and we want to, again, do everything we can to make the case stronger. So the psychological evaluation is very important. I definitely recommend that all of my clients, no matter how strong I think their case is to get a psychological evaluation done, because we want to do everything we can, maximize the chances of approval. So I do definitely recommend it in every single person's case. If somebody with a tourist visa got vaccinated in the US have problems coming back to the US from Kentucky, I don't believe so. I think your question is really going towards if you get a free vaccine in the US, will that be considered a public charge or something to that effect? And no, the vaccine is free for all. The vaccine is available to everyone in the US, regardless of immigration status. I highly recommend everybody get their COVID-19 vaccines done. And especially if you're going to be applying for a green card or for your residency, the COVID-19 vaccine is required by USCIS in order to be approved for the green card. Of course, you can ask for a waiver of the vaccine, but you have to show either a medical or a religious ground. a belief that the vaccine is not effective is probably not going to work. All right. And I'm going to answer a couple of last questions. Am I based in New York or Los Angeles? From user, I'm actually based in New York, but I work with clients all over the US because immigration is considered a federal law, and I do not need to be licensed in every single state to practice immigration law. And in fact, I use this to be able to help as many people as I can. So if you're in LA or New York, wherever you are, feel free to give me a call, 212-248-7907. Does USCIS approve I-131 and I-765 together or separate from TikTok fam? Usually, if you file these two together, they'll usually approve it at the same time. All right. When I called you, your assistant picked up the call. I wanted to talk only. He said, this is her fees from Fatty. Fatty, you've got to book an appointment to talk to me. And I have a fee for my appointment to talk to me, which is $150 for anyone who's interested. My fee for consultation is $150 for a phone or a video. There's no way to talk to me directly unless we're on a live here. If you want me to look at your case, you deserve to have the time that I set aside to look at your case and discuss your options with you. And besides, I need that. I'm not going to be able to do that in 2 minutes. Okay, this is the last question for today, guys. I have a question from Real1101. My husband passed away from COVID. He was US born in the US. Can I fix my immigration status? Real, I'm really sorry to hear that he passed away. You may be eligible to do an I-360 widower's application. Give us a call. We'd love to see if we can help you with that, okay? All right, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sharing your questions. And I hope to see you all back again soon.